Kia ora koutou, Markie here. I'm going to be a bit shouty because the sea's very loud today. I came down here the other day and it were the biggest waves I've ever seen here, and I forgot my bloody camera. And also there was a seal right there on that rock there that's in the foreground. I was a bit worried about him actually because he had an injury, but apparently they recover very quickly from, you know, what look like quite nasty injuries. I did actually phone the Department of Conservation people to let them know, but then he, you know, and I thought that he was where he was because he couldn't move that easily, but then later he moved and he lumbered, he maneuvered himself quite deftly actually over the rocks. So I thought, he's okay, that's good. I say he might have been a she. So no seals noticeable so far, but they're so well camouflaged. There could be one, you know, right next to me. Sometimes you don't notice until till much later, until they move or something. So yeah, it's still pretty cool here today, and there's an amazing sky. Look at that sky, isn't that great? So I want to talk about something mischievous. No, I don't. I want to talk about something mischievous. And this is something that Dawn has brought to my attention. Dawn is one of our team of retroactive jealousy counsellors. She's brilliant, and she's also brilliant at tipping me the wink when there's, you know, something I ought to do a video on. And Dawn is much more kind of plugged into the world than I am. I'm just an old git really. I'm an old fool, and I know nothing. So I don't know about trends, you know, and that kind of thing, or what's popular, or what people are talking about, and that kind of thing. But so she kind of like a young teenager would talk to their grandparents. She lets me know what I need to be thinking about, and apparently that's something that people are talking about at the moment: the mispronunciation of the word mischievous. And I've realised that I'm guilty of it. I googled it and looked at the spelling again. I kind of knew this really, but knew it and didn't know it, if that makes sense. So people say mischievous, don't they? They say that all the time. But if you look at the spelling, mischievous, and that is how it's pronounced. I looked it up. I looked up everything. I looked up the pronunciation. I looked up the spelling. So there you go. Now, the reason I mention this, and the reason this is relevant to this channel, is I have a series, and there's a playlist for this, of mainly kind of mistakes that people make with grammar and pronunciation, generally speaking spoken English rather than written English, but sometimes it relates to written stuff. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's something like, I think it's Markie demystifies accurate and elegant spoken English, something like that. The reason it's got the word demystified in it, if indeed it does, because I'm relying on my memory, which is never a good thing, is the channel used to be called Mark the Demystifier before it was, you know, primarily a retroactive jealousy channel, because I used to kind of debunk things quite a lot, not in a kind of Mythbusters kind of way, but things like misunderstandings around mental health issues and stuff like that. So Mark the Demystifier is one of my many titles, as well as Mark the Grizzled Walrus of Retroactive Jealousy is another one. So yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that. So that series is one of my favourite, and I pick up on lots of, you know, sometimes quite obscure things, sometimes things that are very common and in vogue and lots of people say and are very annoying. So a lot of the people that follow that series are people like me who are kind of autistic and pedantic, and take great comfort in knowing that they're not the only one that gets annoyed by that sort of stuff. But also I say, you know, because a lot of people who are YouTubers who present their channels in English, but English is not their first language, which, you know, hats off to you, because I could never do that in a second language. My language skills are, in terms of non-English, very limited. So I have huge respect for that. But one thing I'm always saying to those people is, if your English is good, your second language English is good, but you just want to get to expert level, then have a watch of the channel, because it's, you know, really nuanced expert high-level things that you wouldn't necessarily learn from a TEFL teacher, or pick up from just listening to English, for example. So, and I suppose I always want to plug that channel because it's one of my favourites and I like it. And I think it's sort of I don't know why it's not as popular as the others. Perhaps it's just because I'm very rare in being so pedantic, perhaps. So I'm always trying to put in a plug for that series and get more people to watch it. So if you're feeling kind, buy me a coffee and have a watch of that series. Just go into the playlists and find it, and there's a whole bunch of things, and it's quite amusing, really. It's a lot of humour in it. It's a lot of me ranting. It's not like serious kind of linguistic grammarian kind of technical stuff, because I'm not a grammarian, I'm not a linguist. It's just me having a bit of a rant for the most part. So there we go. If you do that for me, you will be in my good books forever. So I will leave you. May get rained on. As you can see, the rain is coming in from afar. But I'll be here for a little while, and if you do see any seals, I've got my camera, so I'll be sure to capture them on film for you. Rangimarie.